Hey everyone, welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
Where we enjoy another episode of SmackDown this week, and we notice that Lars Sullivan isn't a part of it.
Coincidence?
Maybe.
I think not. I'm Jess,
I'm Janny.
and we are here to recap a SmackDown. Now, I have to say, and again, like we will mention this probably many, many times, this was an excellent episode of SmackDown, just from the beginning to the end. Maybe a little bit of a lull in between, but I thought overall it was probably one of the better episodes of SmackDown in a long time.
Yeah, a go home episode. I mean, last week was good too. So
Absolutely. But hey, so now the show opens up and we're backstage with Big E and the Street Profits. It's a little different from, let's say, other weeks, but Big E is basically hyping up his old teammates, and, he says that the Street Profits have a beatdown coming their way in 2 days. The Street Profits, they retort that, a new day will actually come to an end, and because all they do is win, win, and win. And basically, they will break bread with you guys any day of the week, but on Sunday, the Street Profits are actually taking down the New Day. And Big E's like, well, you know what? You can actually tell them in person because they're here tonight. So, man, I love this brand-to-brand invitational stuff that's still going on because the Raw Tag Team Champions are on SmackDown.
it's the wild card rule all over again.
Yeah, so it's really funny though because now Kofi and Xavier are in the ring, and I love the fact, I don't know if you caught that, but Xavier's like, yeah, we were just visiting SmackDown hoping to see that giant fist, coming through the screen or
Yeah.
something like that. And Kofi's like, well, we also came into to check into the SmackDown hotel. I just thought that it was like just kind of like a fun little thing, and they even do like an Undertaker segment,
They were happy to be there.
yeah, exactly. So out comes Sami Zayn, who cuts them off. He basically talks about the coward's way out. He mentions going one-on-one against Bobby Lashley and how the WWE loves to protect him because he's the United States champion. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen Sami Zayn, but he's been completely on fire on Twitter.
He has, yeah.
Now
I've been enjoying that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, as Sami is kind of saying his shtick, Baron Corbin comes out, and he just can't believe that Sami Zayn is going to let the New Day talk to him like that. And he actually makes a good point. He's like, didn't you guys just have a farewell match like a month ago? Like, what are you doing on SmackDown, right?
Yeah, but they really explained themselves well, I think. They were like, well, we used to be SmackDown superstars, now we're back as guests.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally, they explained themselves quite well, actually. That didn't work out for Corbin, I don't think.
And finally, there is one more interruption. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, they come out and they basically talk about what they've been talking about for the past month or so, how if it wasn't for the New Day, they would have a title opportunity and they would be champions. And
It's like they said it should have been them.
exactly that line. And essentially the New Day is kind of twisting, words and everything against them. They basically say that like, well, you know what? You guys can actually fight amongst yourselves and maybe the winner will face us later. And basically everyone just starts bickering. And it seems that we have Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn versus Rudolph, but Rudolph actually cheap shots the New Day. And out come the Street Profits, and there's like a whole brawl going on. And after the break, it becomes an 8-man tag match.
I smell an 8-man tag player.
So
Yes, this was a pretty solid opening segment, right?
yeah,
I did enjoy a lot of the nods. There was a lot of nods to The Undertaker. There was Big E cosplaying as The Undertaker. At one point, the New Day make a nice joke in the ring about how they're going to make the Street Profits dead men, but Kofi's like, wait, we don't want to kill them. We just want to beat them in a match. But no, it's actually, they wanted to segue into The Undertaker, which was nice. Sami Zayn got a cheap shot on The Undertaker. There's a lot of that stuff going on. And it was funny that, the opening segment was Street Profits. Go talk to the New Day yourself. And then everybody but the Street Profits interrupt them. But yes, all this blows over. Ford does an amazing dive. And now, back from commercial, we have this 8-man tag match player, which was pretty good, honestly.
yeah. Honestly, I feel like everyone got to showcase their abilities. We got to see some really entertaining, high octane tag match. There was one moment that I really, really enjoyed, and it was all Baron Corbin. And I have to tell you, at this point, so we have basically Xavier Woods going for the honor roll, but Baron Corbin actually he reverses that into a sweet looking deep six, and the deep six has to be, in my opinion, one of the smoothest looking finishers.
It's nice. It's not a finisher though. It never wins matches. It's only a signature. But yeah, I wrote that one down too. The whole match is basically structured around, at least the first half, is New Day and Street Profits trying to one up each other. Of course, there's a miscommunication, and Kofi like hits forward with like a splash, but he wasn't really like, it was one of those reverse splashes, so he didn't know he was hitting until it was too late. So that kind of turns the match around in favor of the heels. And then there's some aggressive tags from Ford and stuff too. And Rude tags in it was a bit weird at the end, I find. Rude tags in Sami, but he never really wanted a part of this match at all. He wanted to kind of move on and focus on Bobby Lashley. And then he just kind of gets like, I think Spinebuster and then Frog Splash, and he just takes a pin from Ford, which was a little bit disappointing there, but it kind of just devolved into that.
Yeah, and after the match, both teams, they basically raised their titles and they're kind of talking smack to each other, right? It should be a very, very fun match between both of them. I still don't know who's going to win, but I guess we'll kind of decide during our prediction video.
Yeah, there was an argument to make the heels win this match because you could have maybe continued the story that they kind of lost and both the Street Profits and the New Day blame each other for losing. It could have like added a little bit of a twist, a little spice to their match on Sunday, but I guess it makes sense that they win, best of the best. They got to win. Otherwise, they're not the best of the best when they're fighting. So
exactly. So we're going to move on, and we get a glimpse of Daniel Bryan talking to Kayla, and he has a new hairdo. He's kind of looking like you a little bit.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Was he looking like $1 million too?
He was.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Indirectly. There you go. So basically,
compliment by association.
There you go. And basically, Sami interrupts them, and he's complaining to the ref. He's mad at Daniel Bryan because he thinks that Daniel Bryan is actually laughing at him. And Daniel Bryan just hilariously just kind of puts on his mask and he shoves Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn gets up and he's like, if it wasn't for my match in 2 days, I would have kind of fought back, and he's not going to forget. So it seems that they're kind of sprinkling, like some future feud between Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn, and I'm definitely all for that. And,
and Daniel Bryan was just social distancing, right? That's why he lifted the mask.
Essentially.
And Sami Zayn is just excellent in this part of in this segment as well. Now we have the actual interview between the two, right? And I thought Daniel Bryan's promo was awesome. He was asked if he was concerned about coming back so soon to face Jey Uso, and he actually believes that Jey Uso it wasn't personal. He said that he has a devil on his shoulder, and he sometimes you're listening to that. We all have a devil and an angel on our shoulder. Mm-hmm. And Daniel Bryan's like, he's going to be listening to the devil on his shoulder tonight because he thinks it's personal that, his daughter cried every time she saw him and he couldn't pick her up. So he's not really concerned about Jey. He thinks Jey should be concerned, and it's not going to be anything personal tonight.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a solid promo.
I think so too. I think it's always nice to see Daniel Bryan on the screen, and as we're going to see in the main event, I thought that he really shone today. Now we're going to move on to Adam Pearce, who's talking to Otis, and he tells him that he's going to be the final member of Team SmackDown. And I'm thinking, wait, so Otis gets in? He doesn't even have a match? No qualifier, nothing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like Chad Gable is in the back and he's elated, and he talks about how Otis got to unlock his inner alpha, and
in 1 week.
Yeah, and I'm happy for Otis, but he doesn't get a match. And then you see Natalya, she's pissed. She's asking Adam Pearce what he's thinking about, and Adam basically just says, well, Bayley is the captain, so she makes the team, and your match against Tamina is up next. So Natalya isn't looking happy.
She's upset. But there's one thing that I actually had a really weird thought during this segment, because it wasn't revealed that he was talking to Otis. The camera was just panned on Adam Pearce, and he was talking about the adversity this person has gone through and all that stuff. And in my mind, I had a thought, and I thought, oh my God, I hope he's not talking to Lars Sullivan, and they twist this whole adversity bully story that he had, and then I really hope it's not him. And I was very elated, you can say, when I saw Otis on the camera.
Lars Sullivan was not even on this episode, and we've already mentioned him twice, so it seems that he's our favorite wrestler.
He must be. We're on Lars Sullivan watch. We need to let you know when he's on so you can turn away.
That's a fair point. So we're going to go backstage with Seth Rollins, and he basically talks about giving Murphy a new life, plucking him from obscurity, essentially, and how he's responsible for every good thing that has happened to Murphy. So his career, his future, his beautiful girlfriend, it's all thanks to Seth Rollins and the greater good. And what does he get in return? He gets stabbed in the back. So he will no longer
Not
suffer.
a fair exchange there.
Yeah, exactly. So he basically says, he's like, tonight it ends. I'm no longer going to suffer for your mistakes. You're going to be the one that's going to, pay for them. And tonight he's going to teach him his final lesson. Yeah, I don't know.
Thrilling stuff.
I thought it was a really, really good segment. Like, Seth Rollins was really, really fired up, and they had a pretty decent match too. But before we go to that match, we do have Natalya versus Tamina. So we have the boat versus someone's mom.
Yeah, this was the low point of SmackDown, I think.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely awful. Like, I mean, Bianca Belair's on commentary, right? I don't know what's going on with her sunglasses. Before the match starts, Bayley comes out because she's happy to be named SmackDown member. I think she's even the captain.
Mm-hmm. That's what she says, yeah.
Well, she's at least a self-proclaimed captain. I don't think Adam Pearce gave her the captain title. Tamina has control early on. They fight on the outside for a bit, but then it's just kind of like whatever. Like everyone, like the Riot Squad's watching backstage. The commentary are more interested in talking to Bianca Belair and Bayley, then Tamina crashes into the ring post and then gets hit by the discus clothesline into a sharpshooter, and that's it. And honestly, the post-match stuff was more entertaining than the match itself. Like, Natalya's happy. She hugs the ref. She hugs Bayley. Bayley wants to get everyone in for like a group celebration. The Riot Squad come out, and they all kind of like raise their hands together. So it looks like we have a team that doesn't hate each other.
Yeah, and
take that, Raw.
They're looking stacked, to be honest with you. If I look at Team SmackDown, I definitely like the members on Team SmackDown.
Oh yeah, but Shania's on Team Raw, so there you go.
There you go. So
predictions time, eh?
Yeah. Now,
not yet.
My absolute favorite segment of the night.
Yeah.
I honestly, man, like this.
It's not even close.
I did not even know that I needed this feud this badly, but I'll let you kind of take the reins on this. But
the Roman Reigns.
But before I kind of go, there's one observation. Roman Reigns is so good even when he's not on the mic, because Drew McIntyre, he comes out, he's fired up. He's looking like $1 million. He's there. Roman Reigns comes out, and his entrance is as long as The Undertaker's entrance. He's taking his sweet time, and he's not even in the ring, and he's already playing mind games with Drew McIntyre. You know what? And so for me, like, I see that, and I'm like, oh man, like, Roman Reigns knows exactly what he's doing. But yeah, so it's like he basically talks about how, he knew that Drew could do it. Paul Heyman actually didn't believe it, but I knew. Because, I've been in your shoes, and all these lessons, I've already learned them. And what did you think about his promo?
Well, the first thing I wanted to point out was, like, nobody was using a microphone, which I thought was interesting. I'm like, Adam Pearce just starts talking, and doesn't have a mic, but we hear him audibly. I also like the touch where Roman sits at the head of the table. Normally, the moderator is between them at the head for the contract signing, but he just automatically has to sit at the head. But his promo was solid. Like, he brings up what Heyman said to him back at like Mania 31, that he's like the right place. He's like the right guy. Oh my God, I'm pulling a Hulk Hogan here. He's basically the
did
right
you wrestle
guy
a
at the
Rock?
right place. But I did wrestle a Rock, but just at the wrong time, basically. And that's because it was Lesnar's time. And Roman essentially tells Drew this. He's basically, Roman Reigns is the new Brock Lesnar, apparently.
Yeah.
Drew's rebuttal is just as strong. Like, he's basically like, I'm not going to let you get in my head. He came here to sign the contract. He's like, I told you I was going to be the champion. You told me to come back with gold. I did. And he basically says, please underestimate me. I'm going to give you some advice. Please underestimate me. And let me give you some advice. Use these 2 days of peace to prepare for war. And I'm like, oh my God.
That was just, like, when he said that, I said, holy shit. Like, I did. Yeah, it was so good.
Incredible line there. I was totally sold. And Roman doesn't like this, right? He's kind of upset. At first, it looks like he's just going to sign the contract. He chuckles. But he basically says, no, I'm going to have to teach you a lesson. He's the face of WWE. He tells Drew that one day he might be the face, and he'll look back and smile and look back fondly at the lessons that Roman taught him, and that he would love Roman for it, and Roman would love him back. So almost like a little Messiah complex there. It's interesting how Roman kind of has that same Messiah thing. All this to say, he kind of just disses Drew completely by saying, you'll always be my favorite number 2 before signing the contract. So it like Roman's smug ass has to lose at Survivor Series. I'm calling it now. I mean, he won't, but he should.
Now, let's just appreciate the fact that 3-4 years ago, he said suffering succotash, and today he's delivering such an incredible, believable, dark promo, and like to say Roman Reigns and incredible, like grade A, promo put together. I wouldn't have believed that, a couple of years ago, but he's definitely knocking out of the park, man, and he's probably been my favorite wrestler of the year.
Yeah, he's been amazing. I mean, I still root for Drew here, no matter what. But yeah, this has been solid Roman Reigns. I feel like he's been planning this for a while. Like, I mean, when he was, the face and it wasn't going well because of the backlash, I'm sure he had this figured out. And he's like, one day I'm gonna have this moment, and he would be good at it.
For sure. So we're going to go to our next match. We have Seth Rollins versus Murphy, who's
the final chapter.
The final chapter. But
there's a recap, a progressive match flow of the final chapter. We have to be reminded of that first.
But Murphy is actually accompanied by the Familia, and Seth Rollins actually starts the match really brutal. Like, he throws Murphy into the barricade. He hits him with a brutal clothesline. And he quickly goes for a kendo stick, but Ray actually stops him, but Seth, nails him. Dominic comes in, and he gets nailed by Seth Rollins as well. And then Aaliyah
Murphy's tied up, right, at this point?
Exactly. But now, we were talking about this, and either she actually hurt herself or she really sold it well. But she's concerned, and she kind of goes to check in on Murphy. Seth Rollins kind of butts in the middle, and she does the splits, or like she kind of moves back and she does a split, and I'm like, oh man, like did she actually get hurt or something?
I thought she like twisted her ankle or something, but then it looked like she was fine. So I don't know. She was walking backwards and tripped essentially. Yeah,
and back from the break though, the action really picks up. We see the patented top rope suplex followed by a Falcon Arrow by Seth Rollins. He just kind of makes it look like it's just nothing. Murphy is on the apron, he's trying to get in the ring, and then Seth Rollins hits him with a beautiful stomp from the second rope. But Murphy is able to kind of not kick out, but he's able to put his foot on the ropes for the 2 count.
That's pretty huge. He survived the stomp.
Yeah, and then Seth Rollins is kind of like he can't believe it, so he starts yelling at Murphy, but he gets really distracted. Like, he starts yelling at the family instead of focusing on Murphy. And that ends up being his demise because Murphy, he catches him in a beautiful looking Murphy's Law for the win.
A couple of knees and a Murphy's Law. And yeah, he won. There was like a delayed pin too. Like there was a delay before he got the cover. So I'm like, Seth's going to kick out, but he won. And I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Really, really surprising. And
that was great.
Murphy is celebrating with the Familia, and out comes Sasha Banks. And guess what happens?
Well, first Michael Cole says it's boss time, and then there's a commercial.
There you go. So it's kind of
like... They did it again.
It's that trend.
They do it on purpose, I think.
It seems
it's boss time, commercial.
Yeah. But when we come back from the break, Asuka's in the ring, and they come face to face. And Michael Cole actually brings up the fact that Asuka beat Sasha Banks last time at SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, and how Sasha stole the title from her prior to that. And then they have an exchange of words. But Asuka's all like having fun, saying random stuff, just messing with her. Sasha's actually trying to... She gives her... Yeah, she does the "You Can't See Me." For our audio listeners, we're doing the hand gesture for "You Can't See Me." For audio-only listeners, of course. Yes. So Sasha does try to give... Like, she tries... You can tell that Sasha's more of a babyface now, so she's trying to give Asuka credit where credit is deserved. But it... Like, Asuka's still messing with her, and eventually says, nobody's ready for Asuka. And Sasha's like, I was born ready, I'm the best of the best. But Carmella attacks. And it's... Sasha takes a beating, and Asuka doesn't really do anything. She's just in the middle of the ring, kind of watching. And Carmella gets a really brutal super kick on Sasha, who's like hung up from the turnbuckle upside down because her legs are like locked in the post. And
very surprised that Asuka didn't intervene.
Well, yes and no. I don't blame her. I mean, they're not exactly friends, right? Like there was a whole saga. They took out Kairi Sane. So it makes sense. Like it did feel bizarre though. It did feel weird because she just kind of like stood there and she's like was conflicted. You could tell that she was maybe conflicted. Like she didn't want this she didn't want this to happen, but like at the same time, she's like, I'm not helping her.
No, exactly. I mean, it makes sense. It kind of adds like a little bit of a dimension to their characters instead of, oh, I'm good, you're good, so I have to help you. So again,
Yeah, totally.
I definitely welcomed it. Before we go to our main event, we do have a quick backstage segment with Jey Uso and Kayla. Kayla's being really,
The
really
shade.
sassy. I
The
know,
shade
man.
again.
Yeah, she basically wants his comment on what Daniel Bryan said. Unless you're not allowed to talk to me. And I was like, ooh, like that was really, really good. And even Jey Uso, yeah, he noticed it.
He got the green light. They gave him the green light, and he was ready to go. And
isn't that a Flo Rida song or something like that?
yeah, that's totally a WrestleMania anthem for like at least 2 or 3 WrestleManias.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
It's not good, but yeah. Jey Uso's listening to the devil on his shoulder, and he's got the green light to go finish what he started, and the devil says to go get him. So a nice little throwback to what Daniel Bryan's promo was, which I totally good. Totally solid promo there. And now we have a solid main event, right?
Yeah.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah, basically it was a really, really brutal main event. I like the fact that Jey Uso started really aggressively, and he kind of and you saw Daniel Bryan just like kind of like start favoring his back already. That kind of slowed him down. And Daniel Bryan does go for a leg lock submission. And even Daniel Bryan shows aggressiveness. He clubs him with a couple of strikes to the back of the head at one point. And I believe there's a point where Jey Uso clears the announce table, and he keeps saying to Daniel Bryan, "This is not personal. This is not personal."
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan does fight back with a top rope dropkick, but when they're back outside near the announce table, Jey Uso hits him with a back body drop, and the table kind of breaks. But back from the break, it's all Jey Uso. Again, Jey Uso once again being really aggressive. He's completely slowed the pace down of the match. And he's just being really vicious, and he keeps saying that it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. But yeah, like I remember at one point towards the end, I really liked the segment where Jey Uso goes to the top rope. Daniel Bryan pushes him, and he hits him with a back suplex from the top rope, which looked pretty good. We get to see some yes kicks, and as you think that Daniel Bryan is going to easily win, Jey Uso hits him with not 1, not 2, but 3 super kicks.
And then he goes for the splash, right? And this is where Daniel gets a roll-up and ends up coming out victorious here.
That was kind of a weird finish. But, like I felt like it wasn't cohesive.
No, that somebody messed up. Jey didn't really hit the splash. Like you could tell, like he was landing on his feet to, like I guess maybe he was expecting Daniel Bryan to lift the foot, but he only raised the knees.
Yeah.
And then like he kind of like fell on him, and then it was a bit of a delay before the roll-up happened, so it did look a bit sloppy, but. I mean, overall, the match was great. Like, they had a lot of good moments. Daniel Bryan's striking offense is good. I always enjoy watching him, the way he picks apart his opponents. Jey Uso was very aggressive and worked the back, which was very solid. And he countered the knee with a super kick into a trifecta of super kicks. And we had that ending sequence. So there was a lot of cool stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it was a perfect way to kind of maybe end this chapter. I don't know if we're going to get to see more Jey Uso and Daniel Bryan, but it seems that, Daniel Bryan got a clean win, and Daniel Bryan is not at Survivor Series, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's not. It's interesting that, like, he's not there. It's just, it seems like he would want to be there, but
yeah. But it seems that maybe after the whole Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn stuff, we might see a segment with Daniel Bryan. Who knows? But I feel like that they are going to kind of give the green light, if you must say, to that feud. But honestly, man, like, so this is how SmackDown ends. This is the go home episode of SmackDown. If I had to kind of give it a number, I definitely give it like a 9. It was definitely up there. We get to see some great matches. So the 8-man tag match was really, really good. This main event was really good as well. And again, just to kind of top it off, that amazing, just incredible, like I'm at a loss of words, contract signing.
Yeah, they made that match must see for Sunday, and they did it all in like a week. It was very impressive. This episode was very solid. Every segment had some sort of tie-in to Survivor Series. It was all perfectly wrapped up. The only thing that was bad was the Natalya thing. That whole segment was the match was whatever. We knew she had to get on the team. It's fine. Everything else was solid. The only thing that might have been weird was Murphy winning against Seth, which I totally enjoyed, but it doesn't really support anything about Survivor Series because Murphy is a winner, but he's not on Survivor Series. So that's like maybe a complaint, but that's like really nitpicking. Everything was really good.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems that feud isn't over.
No, it's likely not, but like it's featured a week before the pay-per-view and it's not even part of the pay-per, like. But again, I'm nitpicking here.
No, exactly.
Episode was good.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positives to take from this episode, and Survivor Series, it's like this every year. Whether Raw is like not doing well or SmackDown's not that great, Survivor Series always delivers. I find, last year especially with NXT, this year with NXT not being there for, obvious reasons with COVID and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I do feel like this show is going to surprise us, and I'm definitely looking forward to all the matches.
Absolutely, this is going to be a very stacked pay-per-view. Everything looks great. I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
Absolutely. So this was our recap for SmackDown. Make sure to tune into our Survivor Series predictions video. I don't know when we're going to record that, but it'll obviously be before Survivor Series.
That's a promise. But you know what the best thing about Survivor Series is? We already know what all the matches are. It's not like there's like 3 matches a week before the pay-per-view and the rest just happen like 2 days. So I think we'll be safe in knowing that the matches we cover will be the matches we see unless things get canceled.
And we can do our homework, beforehand, because obviously this is some real serious business, these prediction videos.
The best of the best, These are the best of the best prediction video.
That's it. All right, well, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Man, if we keep talking about Lars Sullivan, I think he might put on another 50 pounds of muscle and start beating us up.
He's going to bully us.
I hope he doesn't make us eat glass, because I do not want to eat glass.
Or worms. Remember?
I mean, at least worms won't, cut my esophagus.
That's true.
Maybe they would. I don't even know. I've never eaten worms.